Hey, what is going on, Pancada fans and Sentinels enjoyers? It's your boy Nine back again to talk about some Pro Valorant. And today we're talking about something that I definitely want to talk about because I've been a Sentinels fan for a very long time. So when there's issues or things going on with the team, I'm very inclined to talk about it. So let's talk about it. So right now, if you've been following Sentinels, what they've been doing since the offseason started, a little bit of the offseason tournaments they've been playing, you can definitely see that there are some issues concerning the team, who's going to be the core 5 and who's going in between Zellsis and Pancada. Because at the end of the year, what happened with Sentinels is that they kept most of their core. Marv left and they brought in John Cutie to be their IGL, and they brought in Zellsis to be their 6th man. And from the outside, I thought these were great offseason moves for Sentinels. They needed someone who can play Sentinel because Pancada was looking rough on it all year, and they needed a good IGL, and John Cutie fulfills both of those very well. And so that means we can get Pancada back on smokes where he's gonna cook people, because we know Pancada is an excellent smokes player, but he just looked really rough this year, if I'm being honest, because he was basically forced to play Killjoy the entire year, and yeah, it was kind of rough. So that happened, and then they brought in Zellsis, who is a very capable player, very capable to play on a starting roster on a team in the league, but he wanted to join Sentinels and he's gonna be their 6th man. And if I'm a team with a 6th man, I think having Zellsis as a 6th man is a pretty good 6th man considering how versatile and good of a player he is. So what are the issues then? Well, Sentinels have been playing in a couple off-season tournaments. They had their Sentinels Invitational, and they also have been playing in a couple show matches, and they are supposed to play in another tournament in the upcoming week for the Africa TV League. And so while playing during the offseason, we've seen that they haven't kept a consistent 5, and people are starting to worry about this because last season was plagued with roster issues. I mean, we had the team starting with Def, and then Def leaving, Psycho leaving, Kaplan becoming head coach, Tenz leaving, Tenz coming back in, Marv in. So when I hear Sentinels are having roster issues, I'm just getting Vietnam flashbacks of last season, because last season was not good because they just could not keep a consistent 5. But right now, I don't see why they would have any issues with that. Now, I understand that Zellsis stepped in during the Sentinels Invitational because there is some plague going on happening at Sentinels HQ, because people are constantly getting sick. Like Tenz is always getting sick, Pancada got sick, and that's why Zellsis had to step in. And while Zellsis did step in, we saw that he played really well with the 5 players. He was personally putting up great numbers for the team during the Invitational, and he was adding a lot to the comms. Everybody knows Zellsis is a very vocal player, and you can definitely tell that he was adding a lot of comms to this team to help put them in a good spot with synergy. And of course, even last year he was a very vocal player on Cloud9, and even watching the comms videos from Sentinels and Cloud9, we could tell that Zellsis was always a very vocal player, which is very important in Valorant. Now, seeing the success of that, it looks like Sentinels want to keep playing with him going forward, because it just got reported that for the upcoming Africa TV League, Sentinels have begun practicing without Pancada. Zellsis continues to play alongside the rest of the squad as their roster stays in question. So my question is, okay, Pancada isn't sick anymore. Surely we just put him back in, right? He is supposed to be our starting smokes player, right? Well, it looks like Sentinels, in my opinion, are putting way too much stock in the results of the Sentinels Invitational that they did win, and they're saying, hey, maybe this is the best 5 with Zellsis playing, and maybe Pancada should be our 6th, which is kind of a crazy sentence that I'm saying right now, and I find a bit wild, but that's just my 2 cents on it, where it looks like they're putting too much stock on it and they care more about, I don't know, winning the tournament than they are building synergy with what should be the core 5, which is having Pancada in there. And we saw that Pancada has voiced his frustration with the situation. You know, he posted a clip on his Twitter where he was playing Brimstone, he was killing some people, and then he just captioned it, why all this aim if I even don't play? Now to me, that's him subtly taking a shot at the org, saying, man, why am I even this good? Why do I even bother to be practicing right now if they're not even gonna put me in the roster? Now I might be stretching it a little bit there, but it does seem to me from that caption that he is a bit frustrated that he's not playing with the team, and he feels like he should be playing with the team, and I would definitely agree with him. He should be playing for this roster. But that said, it does bring up an old issue that many thought would be a problem for Sentinels going into the 2023 season this year, is comms. We don't know how good the comms are on this team, and it was always a thing in question when we saw that they signed 2 Brazilian players in Pancada and Zellsis. Now Zellsis, I have no doubt about his communication. He is a very confident English speaker. He's in a lot of their YouTube videos. He does a lot of interviews. He speaks English very well. Pancada, on the other hand, we can tell has always been struggling. It's not very strong for him. So seeing now that Zellsis is stepping in and adding a lot to those comps while keeping himself good on the scoreboard, it definitely would put some questions into the coach's minds about, hey, maybe the best 5 is with Zellsis, who can speak English very well, can synergize with these players very well, over someone like Pancada, who can play, but it's not always about how good you can play, it's about how you synergize with a team, and that will give you the most success in Valorant. So it just puts Sentinels in this really weird spot, honestly, because we have Pancada, who's a very great and capable player. We saw it in the finals, and we know it. This guy is a world champion. But then we also have Zellsis, who's adding a lot to the comms, also playing well, and so it just puts you in a weird spot. Now, in theory, Sentinels might be able to theory craft a really good 6-man rotation, where maybe they put Zellsis in on certain maps to play certain characters, Pancada in on certain maps to play smokes, and it could work out. But the thing is, at this point in Valorant history, I think we can confidently say 6-man rosters are not very good ideas for the long term of your team. We've seen so many teams try to do it, and they've all pretty much failed in keeping, good results while regularly rotating out these players. It just really hasn't been shown to be consistently successful. Maybe, Sentinels can be the first team to make it work coming into the new season, but I really wouldn't bet on it, and if that was their plan, I would not be very confident in the team moving forward. Let's not overreact too much with what's happening in these off-season tournaments. They tend to not be very important in the grand scheme. I mean, we saw 100 Thieves win Red Bull Homeground last year. Everybody thought they were going to be a goated team coming into this year. And what happened? They were the most mid team in the Americas League, right? So I'm not trying to put too much stock into the results of these off-season tournaments, but I am paying attention to how the roster is playing. This is when you want to be doing it. When the season starts and you need those wins, you really don't want to be messing around too much. You want to have it already figured out what makes sense for you. So going forward, I think we can be very hopeful of what this roster will do in the future. The team is definitely constructed much better than the team was this previous season, so I'm very hopeful for Sentinels moving forward. But those are just my thoughts and opinions on the Sentinels situation, guys. Let me know what you guys think makes sense for the team moving forward. I'm definitely going to be reading and responding to your comments, and yeah, I'll see you in the next one.